Last time on Thrill of the Race.
The inside.
He's going for it. Brooks is here. He's going up the inside, but surely he won't get it stopped. He does somehow.
And after that, Kyle Ryde. After that, the game was his.
Kyle Ryde is your new championship leader. He wins.
He digs so deep. Glenn Irwin.
Glenn Irwin wins. Race 2 at Alton Park.
Don't want to big myself up too much. I like to under-promise and overachieve, as Whittam would say.
Take your hat off, Kyle Ryde. He wins the 5-lap dash in the wet here at Alton Park.
It's going to be good close racing. It's going to be hard, fast racing.
I'm not sure how much more of this I can take.
The siren that opens the pit lane for round 10 of the Bennetts British Superbike Championship, race 3. The pressure is truly building. The autumnal winds are blowing across Donington Park. Across the whole weekend, the concertina effect of a championship which consists of 28 riders is coming down to just 3 people. Coming into the weekend, momentum started with Kyle Ryde coming to his home track at Donington Park, garnering massive local support. Tommy Bridewell, the champion, vigorously defending his #1 crown. He's put on a great display so far, but the tenacious Glenn Irwin has just stamped his authority on BSB Race 2 with a masterful win in a real pressure race. So now we are set for the 3rd race of the penultimate weekend. There's 5 points between P1 and P2, and all that's on the board after this is 105 points at Brands Hatch. The pendulum is swinging from left to right. In that mix, Glenn Irwin, Kyle Ryde and the defending champion, Tommy Bridewell. The stage is set for 20 laps of the 2.5-mile Donington Park Grand Prix circuit. Let the battle commence.
Coming to Donington Park, it's that time of year where I'm getting a little bit excited because this is where it really matters. It's crunch time. The championship's on the line. There's only 6 races to go. And even in the journey on the way up, I was trying to work out in my head, how is this one going to pan out? Which is really stupid because whatever you think is going to happen in BSB, you might as well just remove it from your brain. And coming here, you know Kyle is strong at Donington, but then Glenn is as well. He's had some great results here, and so is Tommy.
Free practice 1, everybody was a little bit tentative to go out on track, as you could imagine. Wet track out there, not really wanting to go out, people not wanting to maybe risk something, because we've seen that in the past where you might fall off in a free practice and that could be the end of your year. You never know what's just around that corner. So a lot of people were just being a bit reserved to let other people go out and see how the track evolved and what the lap times are like. Tommy Bridewell was first man on track. I also noticed that Kyle was out there. This is Kyle territory. This is Kyle land. Kyleville, call it what you like. Kyle should reign supreme here.
It's my favourite track, and like I said, it's only 20 minutes away, so there's green boxes ticked everywhere, and yeah, just hoping for a nice, clean, dry weekend so we can show what we can do around Donington Park. But BSB, obviously, it won't be that simple.
The thing that I take from Alton is normally I'm not the best rider in mixed conditions when it's a dry line and you've got to run intermediates, but something clicked at Alton for me, and I don't know how, but on an intermediate front and a slick rear, I was so fast.
I could see that there were sketchy conditions and no one was going to take any massive risks, and that was understandable. So the dry afternoon session, that's all they had to try and book a place into Q2.
Donington Park underwent the resurfacing, for the 2023 season, and it really improved the grip levels, and some areas where we need to improve on the Ducati, you come here and they kind of be improved for you due to the grip. So the track, can we be competitive this weekend? Yeah, we can fight for victories. That's important with where we are in the championship as we make further inroads.
You're hoping that the main riders make it through to Q2.
Free practice 2, the lap times got faster, a lot faster. The track was bone dry for free practice 2 as well.
The times were all pretty close, and then Kyle just goes wallop.
Kyle put 4 tenths into everybody in free practice, and if that's not a statement of intent, I don't know what is for the start of the weekend.
And he just looks the best version of Kyle Ryde I've ever seen. And if you mix that with Donington Park, you've got a bit of a lethal combo.
Looking forward to this, can't wait. Showdown time. I don't know where the year has gone, but here we are. It's crisp. It's pretty cold out there, ready for this session.
It's what my dad would have said, back end day.
I really enjoyed the qualifying session. It's always one of these things, especially at Donington Park, you can see a lap building.
Kyle Ryde here then, on home soil. Jacksdale just 16 miles down the road. He loves it here, and it's a 27.9.
FP3 was pretty good on used tyres, so I knew I had the pace to at least be on the front row. I wasn't gunning out there to get pole position, I just tried to do a solid job. Once I'd done a 27.6, which was my banker lap, I took a few more liberties to try and go a little bit quicker. And yeah, it was a good session. The whole Friday and all this morning's been pretty solid.
Danny Kent put it on the middle of the front row, which to me, he's been a little bit under the radar all weekend. I didn't see too much of that coming, but Danny was really, really strong in qualifying.
Danny Kent's on a fast one.
This could be pole position potentially for Danny.
Yeah, I was confident, really confident coming into this weekend, just because of how strong we were in round 3. Yeah, but truth being told, wasn't up until qualifying then where we've been struggling. I just wasn't getting that same feeling with the bike that I had earlier in the year. It was a bit of a messy qualifying for us, because normally we go out at the beginning with a new tyre and stay out there and do as many laps. But this is the first time this year where we started qualifying on a used tyre, just because we've made a big change and wanted to see if it was an improvement, which it was. And then obviously when I put the new tyres in, just went out there, set 2 fast laps, and I'm just really happy to have the bike that I feel like I've got the bike that I had earlier in the year, which is really good.
The Cam's Yamaha rider who is staying put next year. That was beautiful out of Goddard's.
It was.
Over the line then for Danny Kent. Is he going to nick pole? No, he goes second though, 27.5.
Really nice to see Josh going well. You know, he's ending the season on a high, he's shown some speed. He was so unfortunate to not be on the podium last time out at Alton.
Alton Park was definitely another step of showing where we've been improving, and then going into qualifying, then we'd just come off of free practice 3, and I was a long way down the list, and the bike wasn't really performing very well. It was really working the tyre badly, and because as soon as we put the fresh tyre in for qualifying, the bike felt like back to where it should, and everything was great again, and I was able to do a lap time that put me on the front row. So we've just, when you think, oh, maybe we've missed something, then you get surprised with a good result like we just had now.
I'd like to see him on the podium just before the season goes out, because he's a 2-time champion. We know he's going to be on the grid next year. We don't know who with yet, but he's still got some fight in him.
Brooksy again, really, really good over a kind of short series of laps. I'll give him that. The bike looks really, really strong over a short series of laps. And to see him again on the front row, it kind of cements the progress that we're seeing in that side of the FHO garage. Yeah,
I'm confident that the package that we have to do the lap time is there. The qualifying shows that. But I'll do everything I can to keep that performance up right throughout the race.
I've come here this weekend to try and secure my first win. So done the first part, and that's qualifying the front row. Just need to get a good start and try and clear off.
Starting at the front in a great place. I feel like if I can get out the front, I can make it hard for a few people. So got to get a good start, get away, settle into a little rhythm that I'm normally quite good at, and hopefully we'll come away with a top step.
2 rounds remain, 6 racers to decide the title. Bennetts BSB showdown alive and kicking. Donington Park awaits, 20 laps coming up with Kyle Ryde on pole, having won 4 of the last 6, and it's all on the line. But the focus really is on the top 3 in the championship, heading into the final 6 races, with Tommy Bridewell, the reigning champion, 6 ahead of Kyle Ryde, who sits on pole. Glenn Irwin wrestling his way back into contention last time out at Alton Park, 45 adrift.
Going into the first race, from the commentary box, you're looking at Kyle on pole. But in my mind, I'm trying to prepare for what we're about to see.
It's lights out here at Donington Park. Not a good initial start there from Kyle Ryde as the lights went out, and immediately he's challenged. Josh Brooks there. Number 25 has got the inside line, but somehow Kyle Ryde manages to get back through. Danny Kent going around the outside as well. Charlie Nesbitt, good start for him. On the outside of him is Tommy Bridewell with a good start.
Tommy made a brilliant start. And Donington's always been a bit of a Honda track anyway, but it's also a track that Tommy Bridewell likes. So it was almost 2 guys at the peak of their powers right now on perfect bikes going head to head at a track they both love. I think today's biggest upset for a rider would have to be Danny Kent. He looked so good after qualifying, but unfortunately, a little unforced error, a tiny, tiny little error, almost being too close to Kyle on the brakes and towards the Fogarty S's, meant he had to go through the escape road.
He could go off into the distance. Bridewell immediately getting his gloves off. Sitting up straight there is Danny Kent.
Yep.
He's got it all wrong into the Foggy S's.
Absolutely. That was a big mistake from Danny. He knew he had to go and get going early. That's been brilliant for Bridewell, who's made a good first lap actually, that's Tommy. It's exactly what he needed.
I knew early in the race that it was going to be tough. I knew there was one sector, if I'm honest, that was a lot stronger, but I didn't quite know how I was going to make a pass through there.
We cross the line to start lap 2. It's Kyle Ride from Bridewell from Brooks, Nesbitt, Glen Irwin 5th.
The first laps were difficult. We were there but kind of stuck, good in areas, while Josh and Charlie were, great in areas. That's kind of, it was like one bike is good here, one rider is good here, etc. So once I settled in, it was nice to get by them. And yeah, the gap to the front, and being realistic, you're never going to reel that in.
He's getting into the slipstream now of Josh Brooks. He's got that inside line as well.
Yeah, can he get it stopped? Yeah.
His brother's giving it some in the background as well. Andy Irwin through on Christian Idden. Now, can Irwin do anything about this gap?
To be honest, I was willing, Tommy, to try and get in front of Kyle just to see if he could upset the rhythm that Kyle was setting.
Out front, Bridewell here. Kyle Ride probably wasn't expecting this much pressure.
I think you're right. I think he was expected to be doing these lap times and pulling a little bit of a gap. Not big gaps, but I think he thought he might have about 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds by now.
Yeah, I mean, the pressure was high. I mean, I obviously dealt with it. I knew my pace, and I did it. And I knew Tommy's pace, but he went off a second quicker than what he did all weekend.
Kyle Ride's under some real pressure now because Tommy Bridewell is right on his tailpipe. Through foggy S as we go.
There's not much I can do here. I'm reliant on a mistake or something. Every time Carl went a bit faster, I could go a bit faster, but I just couldn't get close enough to make the pass.
And nothing to split the pair of them on that last lap. They both did a 1:28.27.
You could see he was pushing so hard. He got a really good start, Tommy, and got himself up into second. I didn't think, why do I keep doubting Tommy Bridewell? I didn't think that he'd be able to hang on to Kyle. Kyle must have been going around every lap going +0, +0, +0. Tommy, go away.
He knows he's not ridding of Tommy Bridewell yet. We're on lap 12 of 20.
How the heck Glenn managed to hold on to third with a train of riders behind him, and he had to fight his way up there to begin with as well? I don't know.
Again, there you can just see Andy Irwin, another opportunity potentially to go through, and he's now just got to try and keep Charlie Nesbitt behind him. And again, it's wide from Glen Irwin, and again, look at this from Andy Irwin, he's helping his bro
He backed
out again.
out of it, didn't he? He completely backed out of that. He could have easily gone underneath his brother, instead protected him.
This is the fight for third that you're looking at, with Glen Irwin at the front of it. Kyle Ride and Bridewell, though, are 7.5 seconds clear.
The fight with Andrew was really good fun. We've had a couple of races in our history together, but not a lot, but they always seem to happen here. It was Donington National back in 2020 as teammates for Honda, and I know him quite well, obviously, and I know his strengths, and I know the Honda well because he's been there. And as he said in the end lap, if I could do the first half, he could do the first half of the lap, and I'd done the second half of the lap, we would be a complete package.
Right, we start the penultimate lap, and this looks like as big a gap as it's been. Kyle Ride over the line, a 28.1, a 28.4 from Bridewell.
Yep.
And I just wonder now whether Tommy says, do you know what?
I need
you can
to
have
finish.
these 3 points.
I need to finish here. Yeah, that's what he's thinking, and quite rightly.
But he certainly kept Kyle Ride honest.
Fair play, he did 18 laps right up my chuff, and it was only the last 2 laps my pit board seemed to eke out a little bit.
It's not a case that Kyle pulled the pin. It just looks like he had more in the bike and the machine and the tyres underneath him, so he was able to keep that pace going stronger. And boy, did he deliver again. And not only did he win the race, he won the best wheelie. He wheelied from Goddard's all the way to Redgate, and it looked absolutely sensational.
And he continues riding this wave on the OMG Grilly Yamaha. Take a bow. He didn't put a foot wrong throughout 20 laps. Kyle Ride wins at home at Donington Park. What a victory for Kyle, and the gap comes down to 3.
It's another podium. It's been a super year so far. 5 races to go. We're still, we would love to leave here somewhere 30, 20, 35, something close to like a race win at Brands Hatch. But nevertheless, we've extended the gap to 4th in the championship, and we're sitting in a slightly safer 3rd. So I'm content.
I'm happy enough. We'll have to just analyse the data and see what the weather's going to do tomorrow, and come back a bit stronger.
Yeah, we did a good chunk of work on Friday. I think that's probably got me that race win there. The speed has always been there. That race was just about pressure and hitting your points and hoping that you come out on top, and yeah, it was a good day.
sprint race at Donington is going to be a completely different affair. People would have been out there looking after their tyres today. Tomorrow, you don't need to think about that. You can go absolutely flying from the word go.
My first thought is, what's the weather going to do? It's supposed to stay dry, but you know, it really does feel like winter's here at the moment. It looks clear and everything looks pretty and lovely at Donington at the moment, but it's so cold. If it stays dry, Kyle is the man in form, but Tommy always finds something extra on a Sunday.
And if we're flying at Donington, does that mean the return of Flying Ryan? Will Vickers do something? A little bit under the radar today, Ryan Vickers. Didn't expect that. Expected a bit more from him, especially with his teammates doing the job he was doing at the front.
I'm hoping, from a neutral perspective, that we've got a proper ding-dong battle. I still think that Kyle, right now as we sit here, I think Kyle's going to head to Brands Hatch with the championship lead because he's got the speed, he's got the rhythm. But at the same time, I'm not going to be that surprised if Tommy comes out swinging tomorrow and still holds on to that championship lead. And let's not count out Glenn. We've mentioned it so many times. I've been sat here and I've been saying to you, right, he doesn't even need a spade to dig himself out of a situation. Glenn will find a way. He'll claw his way out. And I think Glenn knows he'll leave it. He's got to leave it all out there tomorrow to have a fighting chance at Brands in a fortnight.
It feels like it could be a 2-horse race, but that could change here at Donington Park because strange things happen here. 3 points in it in the championship as Tommy sits on pole position trying to defend a 3-point lead over Kyle Ryde, the man in form at the moment. So much still to play for, 155 points available, but after 27 races, 3 between Tommy and Kyle, Glenn Irwin here is going to have to take big risks today.
I just had a feeling that a 12-lap sprint race was going to be pretty exciting because you just know that the riders are going to leave everything out there. They're not going to be worried about tyre life. With Tommy on pole, yeah, you just felt like something special could happen. And the 3 main men fighting for the championship were all in the right positions. You know, that the cream is rising to the top here.
Its eyes on the lights. A 12-lap sprint coming up in Bennetts BSB with the reigning champ on pole. Lights out and away we go. Good start from Tommy, actually from pole position. Just already again, just like yesterday, Kyle Ryde, then he's got work to do. And look at Glenn Irwin. Thought about getting aggressive immediately, but from row 2, he's come up into 3rd. He had to do that.
I think after the first race, I knew we had a really good pace, and at the end, whilst defending from Andrew, penultimate lap, we were like a 10th off what Kyle was at that stage, and that's when Kyle had managed to break Tommy. So, you know, if you're in there, you automatically get something as well, because you become more attacking rather than defensive.
Onto the back straight we go then. Kyle Ryde, if he wants to win this one, he's going to have to make a move on Tommy Bridewell. And Glenn Irwin has come through into 2nd place on the Hager PBN Ducati.
Well, he's listening to you.
Just as you expected Glenn to do. He would have known, waking up this morning, I've got to go for glory here, no matter what happens. Oh, and the bike almost chucks him off. He almost got spat off down at the Melbourne Loop.
I keep thinking in the championship that this is just between Tommy and Kyle, and every time you rule out Glenn Irwin, he pops his head up. You never know what you're going to get with Glenn on any day, but he is such a tenacious rider. It is unbelievable.
And here comes Glenn again, up the inside into Redgate. He sees the door open from Kyle Ryde and he goes through. Is he going to run a bit wide though? Kyle has got some speed, but no, Irwin back up into 2nd. Down into the Melbourne Loop again. Glenn Irwin just struggling to get the Ducati stopped, and sneaking through the gap was Kyle Ryde.
He knew coming into Sunday he had to take risks. He had to gamble, because otherwise he's going to go to Brands and there's going to be too much to do.
Like we said, if they're going to do anything about Kyle Ryde here this weekend, they're going to get about him, pass him, rough him up. And this is exactly what's going on.
Yeah, again, Glenn Irwin up the inside, and again, Kyle Ryde on the cutback trying to get through into Hollywood. It's fast through there, and
There's only room for one bike.
There is only room for one. Again, Glenn Irwin sliding the Ducati through Craners.
Glenn was on form, and you could see him, he wanted it so badly. He wanted it everywhere. He was attacking, he was aggressive.
Over the line we go.
Here comes Glenn.
Up the inside then. Hello, old friend, he says to Tommy, and on the cutback, Tommy Bridewell able to get that Honda through.
Yeah, that was just a little bit too wide from Glenn.
Is Glenn now going to try and line this one up into the old hairpin?
Big move there.
Danny Kent certainly is. He sees the door open on Kyle Ryde.
Kyle Ryde cuts back.
And when Kyle wants to run his lines, that does
He leaves
just
it open.
He does leave that open.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think the package I had today with the setup was slightly worse than yesterday, unfortunately. I was still good in the areas where I could pass, but from Redgate up to McLean's, I was fighting to even stay with him, and I was trying to keep Danny behind me. He must have passed me 5 times into the old hairpin. It was like clockwork, so I felt like someone had hold of the Sky remote and just kept rewinding because it did the same thing every lap.
And that's same move again from Danny Ken.
They're losing time. Kyle Ride then trying to bounce back again, and he just got that line. That was quite polite from Danny Kent actually there.
I knew get to the front. Spent half a lap behind Kyle and Tommy and that, and at times, and you know where you're strong, you know where I'm weak is kind of where the bike's weaker, so we had to work in them areas.
Hang on,
Here comes Glenn. He's got that inside line. That's the question.
Yeah,
he's done it. Just about. Kyle Ride then closes in on them as well. Glenn Irwin leads here over Tommy Bridewell.
Sadly, there's 3 key areas where we're really struggling, and it just leaves me so open. You know, it leaves me so vulnerable. If they can just hang on to me, let's say up through Starkeys, where I'm so strong, they are able to attack me into Foggies, or if not Melbourne, or if not the last corner.
Through Foggy S's now. Kyle Ride is as close to Tommy as he's been for some time. He's going to have a little look here up the inside of Tommy Bridewell as well, down into the Melbourne loop, and he's able to hold that really nice tight line.
Yeah, typical Kyle Ride. When he makes a move, he's thought about it and it works. Difficult move to make on a Yamaha, that, to put yourself in that position.
Tommy Bridewell now looking to try and return the favour on Kyle, and he's going to do it here into the old hairpin. As we just mentioned, those lines that Kyle likes to run, it does just mean there is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, straight through again into Starkeys for Tommy. This is all helping Glenn Irwin out front.
It is, and it's all messing Kyle Ride up.
Up the inside again for Kyle Ride on Tommy Bridewell. He's able to execute the block pass down there perfect.
And it is a block pass. I mean, you look at his mid-corner speed, nothing like it would be if he had clear track on his own.
I real dug deep because I saw the 2 guys pulling away a little bit. Once I cleared Danny and defended into the old hairpin, I did a good last sector and did my fastest lap and caught the boys up, and yeah, I managed to get to the front somehow.
Kyle does it again, a block pass through on Glenn Irwin.
Beautiful.
Perfect from Kyle Ride, and he looks here to do the double.
But he's still able to make that last apex and not lose any time going out.
Glenn doesn't mind being a bit creative when it comes to retaliation.
Yeah.
Now this is going to be key for Glenn. He knows that he's got an opportunity here immediately to retaliate.
He's got to do. I think he's got to do. Use the speed of the Ducati and get up the inside. He's got to do that.
Yeah. And the question is whether or not
Kyle will be open his run wide.
Yeah, and he has. And they're
not
side by
enough
side.
though, I don't think.
He's got that inside line.
Oh, beautiful!
For it.
Look at it. Did you see the rubber getting laid down by Kyle Ride there at Hollywood? Brilliant.
And now even Tommy!
Hey.
Tommy almost threw it down the road. That was a massive moment for Tommy Bridewell. The championship leader. How close he was to being on the grass and even colliding with Danny Kent there.
Danny Kent was lucky as well. He was going to get collected there.
Goodness me.
To be honest, I tried to get the run down through there. I think to make a pass. I think it was Glenn I was behind, so I almost come through normal, spun up a bit at the top of Hollywood, and then when I chucked it into the left, I rolled the throttle a bit, probably a little bit more aggressive, in chattered and lost the rear.
Glenn's going to have a go here, as he knows you have to do.
He's getting his elbows out, is Glenn Irwin, and he's through again on Kyle Ride into the Foggy S's. We're closing in on the final lap. Look at that great exit from Kyle Ride. He's got the inside line. Now defensive from Glenn, but Kyle, no, he can't come through.
No, he can't. That was really good. He's run wide.
He's run wide. He's run wide as Irwin. They're side by side now, but just on the inside line now for Glenn Irwin. He's got the advantage. Tommy Bridewell now comes through on Kyle Ride. We're about to start the final lap, and it's all going off.
Yeah, Kyle Ride got a little bit of a slide coming out of Melbourne. That's what cost him the position to Tommy.
1 lap left at Donington Park in the sprint race. Irwin it is that leads from Bridewell and Kyle Ride. Down into Redgate, no overtakes.
Glenn's just kept his name in the frame, but he delivered. He delivered, and you know, you just have to take your hat off. Not just that, but they've broken the lap record. They've smashed the lap record as well. The pace was unbelievable at the front.
It's so close, but the checkered flag is out, and Glenn Irwin wins for Ducati and the PBM team ahead of his old teammate Tommy Bridewell with Kyle Ride in third.
It's such a nice feeling to be disappointed with a third place, you know what I mean? And we've come on so much these last couple of meetings. I just want to win so bad, and yeah, after yesterday, it's a bit gutting coming third, but yeah, Glenn and Tommy rode a brilliant race there as well. Hats off. as always, Tommy and Glenn last couple of laps defended real well.
Yeah, it was close, but I'm happy. I'm happy with what I'm able to do. I'm riding hard and trying to maximise everything that's on offer.
Great job, team. Yeah, lovely. My kids are here this weekend and just been in Park Ferme and standing on the podium and seeing them wave and blowing you kisses. And you are your thoughts, you are what you feel, and I feel really happy in life right now. I'm very, very grateful for everything I've got. Yeah, thankful.
"28 races down in the 2024 season, and it's getting closer and closer to crunch time. The championship is tight. There's just 5 points separating Tommy Bridewell and Kyle Ryde. But Glenn Irwin was back in business earlier today. He got himself a victory, and he could really do with another one here. Tommy Bridewell wants to keep that #1 plate with him for 2025. Kyle Ryde looking for his first championship. And it's now time for business in Bennetts BSB, the last race of the weekend at Donington in very chilly conditions. Away we go. Good start there from pretty much everyone, but particularly from the second row. Andy Irwin, number 18, he's on the outside line there, just to the outside of his brother. It's his brother that gets the whole shot. It's Glenn and Andy, 1 and 2 by the looks of things, although he's a bit wide, is Andy Irwin, number 18, and Tommy Bridewell comes through to take second spot.
Can't believe what we've seen this weekend. Kyle Ryde in charge of the championship. I mean, he's ridden brilliantly over the last couple of rounds anyway, and you knew he was going to be strong here. But from 6th on the grid, I thought he had his work cut out. And his moves down into the Melbourne Loop they were unbelievable.
Now watch Kyle Ryde in 4th, get the drive out of Foggy S's and try and make that move. He can hold a really nice tight line down into the Melbourne Loop, and he is immediately going through on Andy Irwin, and he moves up into 3rd.
Yep, signature move. The danger there is you run wide mid-corner and let your rival cut back. But that was perfectly placed for Kyle.
That's so difficult to do, what he was doing. You know, he made that look really easy, and it's really not, because he's making the moves, the same move into the Melbourne Loop, and it is so easy to lose the front, to run in deep, and every lap he was just going ping.
Perfect again. Has he got it stopped? Yes, he has.
Yeah, that's another one. That's now 3 on the trot from Kyle Ryde. Lovely move.
Ping.
Here comes the move from Kyle Ryde up the inside on Glenn Irwin. Now we're going to see whether or not Glenn can retaliate.
He has to do. He has to do.
Going by everyone and getting out front, and then he was able to run his line. And credit to Glenn, he sort of tried to ruffle his feathers a bit. But once the Yamahas get into their stride at Donington Park, that's when they're at their best.
He will have a look into Redgate.
He's got to have a look. He needs a good line out of here to give him the chance, though. Oh, and Kyle was bumping over the curves there. Might cost him a bit of time. No, not close enough.
No, not. So then points right now are level.
Unbelievable.
If it stopped right now going into the showdown finale at Brands Hatch.
Then Danny was there, and Danny was particularly quick down through into the old hairpin, up around Starkeys and into Schwantz. And then I'm thinking, hang on, Danny might be actually finally on for this first ever victory in Bennetts BSB.
Can Glenn now return the favour down into Redgate Corner?
He has to do. He's got to do it somewhere.
And he is. Up the inside, but can he hold it? Because you know that Ryde's got that inside line again, and they're side by side on the approach to Hollywood. It's so fast here. Look at the rear end sliding from Kyle Ryde.
Unbelievable this. And you know what the lovely thing is, everybody in that first 4 are just using their bikes to the maximum advantage. They have to ride the bike, so it needs to be ridden to get the lap time.
Danny Kent has gone through on Tommy Bridewell, and they're being caught this lot.
Danny Kent was pretty special in race number 3, but this has been coming all weekend. Don't think that it's a surprise that Danny showed up in race 3. He showed up in race 1.
I think this might be a breakthrough lap for him if he can keep it together. Here comes Danny Kent, signature move for him, keeps it on line. What a nice move.
Yeah, lovely move. And that's, I mean, Kyle won't know it, but that has done him a few favours. That takes a bit of breathing space, gives him a bit of breathing space out front. So then can Danny Kent now reel in Kyle Ryde and fight for this first victory of the season?
There was a point through race 3 that I said we're about to see Danny Kent take his maiden Bennettsbury Superbike Championship win, because it was a new Danny Kent. There's a bit of aggression about him. It's Danny Kent 2.0. It's a Danny Kent I've never seen before.
Through the Melbourne Loop, Kyle Ryde, this has been a really strong lap. He's just put in a personal best, sector 4. This could be another lap in the 127s.
And what he just needs that plus half a second, because that'll relax him. That'll mean he's not just pushing his hard, he can just flow.
Yeah, 27.8
Yeah, perfect.
from Kyle Wright.
Perfect.
Exactly what he needed.
Yep, and that'll just give him that breathing space he needs to run his own lines and therefore put the lap time in.
The swingometer broke today. It's gone so far to the left and gone blue that Honda's starting to look over their shoulder that way. But Kyle also mentioned something on the grid pre-race. He said the wingman's going to help me in this one. Never mentioned the name, but we all know straight away that was Ryan Vickers.
Out of the foggy S's, Ryan Vickers looking to try and attack on Tommy Bridewell. Through we go. Ryan Vickers has got the inside line and he's through on Tommy Bridewell.
Yeah, this is the problem. But Bridewell's got his. Not only does he need to go quick and keep going forward if he can, but he actually needs to be careful.
Vickers now is closing up on the tail here of Glenn Irwin.
Yeah, Vickers not a lot to lose in the championship. He just needs results.
The pace that we had, I knew I could go with the front guys, so I had to be a bit aggressive, you know, I mean, bar banging and stuff like that, but I had to come out on top. And then caught Glenn and Tommy and Andy and managed to pass all three, and yeah, then started my charge to the front guys.
And I'm sure that he'd like to say thanks very much to Alan Gardner and Paul Curran by doing his teammate a favour in the championship, and that's what he's doing right here into the Melbourne Loop by going ahead of Glenn Irwin. It is a Yamaha 1-2-3.
And the wingman showed up today for Kyle Wright, big time.
I knew, obviously on the pit board, Danny was behind me, and he's really good in sector 1, 2 and 3, and I'm pretty average, so I knew I was in for a fight. I'd used so much rear tyre at the start to get to the front and keep Glenn behind me that when we'd got a gap to Ryan, a second and a half or whatever it was, I knew I'd got a fight on my hands.
Let's see what happens here now. Look, Andy Irwin up behind Tommy Bridewell. This is another interesting one, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, you've got to think that Andy Irwin wouldn't take points from his championship leading teammate.
However, his wingman was doing a good job as well. Andrew Irwin did everything that Honda UK would expect and ask Andrew Irwin to do. He was fast, he was there, and he didn't make a pass on Tommy Bridewell.
We're getting to that point in the race now where if Danny Kent wants a winner's trophy at this championship, he's going to have to engage shortly. Can he engage? Where can he do it? He definitely seems to have some really good speed through Craners down into the old hairpin and the approach to McLean's, but will not be easy to pull that off.
Oh my God! Big
Nasty crash here. Is that O'Halloran?
That's O'Halloran, definitely.
The red flag came out and unfortunately brought that race to an end when we saw a fairly nasty crash between Billy McConnell, Christian Idden and Jason O'Halloran.
There might well be a red flag
Back in the
here.
track there is.
Yeah, we've got a red flag. We've got a red flag here because of that, and that's going to be a declared result.
Yep.
Oh, you know, we can't go to sleep, you know, there's things happening all the time and we've got to really try and keep on top of them.
Mixed emotions really, because I really feel that's a missed opportunity for my first win of the year. I felt really, really good on the bike. So yeah, I'm happy for another podium. Pleased for McCann's Racing. They gave me, like I said, gave me a mega bike. Never podium to the year, not to win, but it's coming.
Yeah, I'm just happy to win the race, and it was a bonus that Ryan come third, so I'm happy for him as well. Took some points off Tommy, and yeah, we're looking good for Brands now, where we're both fast.
Honestly, the weekend has been a roller coaster, for sure, a roller coaster. We, as a team with Honda, we need to come out strong at Brands. That will be the telltale. If we can come out strong and the team give me the bike that I need, then honestly, genuinely, hand on my heart, I know we can win the championship.
I don't think there's never been a point in my career when I could have done the lap times I was doing in the last 2-3 laps of that race. So, you know, it's not trying to find positives. There's a lot of positives to take. Very enjoyable weekend for the team. First year for Jordan and Frank, run it properly, and we roll into Brands Hats with still a good mathematical fighting chance. And yeah, you know, I love life, and it's nice to be able to say that.
Where do we start? Where do we start? This championship, it's a good job it's only 11 rounds. because I just don't think we can take any more. If this was like a 20-round championship, we'd all be in some serious trouble.
The swingometer has gone full OMG, Gorilla Yamaha. Tommy Bridewell came in here with a championship lead. He goes trailing Kyle Ryde to Brands Hatch.
It's just crazy. BSB's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words. And we've got 3 races to decide who's got the title. And honestly speaking, I mean, it feels like there's just 2 in it. I'm not going to rule out Glenn. I've done that before. It's a really stupid mistake to make. You know he'll dig deep at the final round. But I can't call this. I honestly cannot call this. Which is a really good position to be in from a commentary perspective. We've got no dog in this fight. We don't care who wins. We're happy for anyone that wins it. But it looks like we're going all the way, baby.
Lights, camera, action. All eyes on me. All eyes on me. I'm all that you see. I'm all that you see. All eyes on me.